Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's my great pleasure to introduce you to this Emerging and Enabling Technologies panel, which sets the scene for the theme for day 2 of this incredible conference. If we think about it, just the smartphone was invented or delivered to market less than a decade ago, and yet this seemingly simple, easy to use device has absolutely revolutionized consumer behavior. And then in this mobile, interconnected, always on world is now revolutionizing the business community as well. And this is a fantastic example of an enabling technology that is completely disrupting existing markets, existing companies, and creating new opportunities for innovators and entrepreneurs. So first up is Paul Mason. Paul is Director of Emerging and Enabling Technologies for Innovate UK, and he has the incredibly difficult job of trying to fit into 5 minutes the breadth and the possibilities of the opportunities that we are showcasing with this panel.
I'm delighted to be here to tell you something about the work we're doing in the Emerging and Enabling Technologies area. These are the very earliest technologies just emerging from the science base. And the industries that support them are really, really small at this point. In fact, they're probably zero when we first picked them up. And the idea of investing in this is to build on the UK's great research base that we have. So you'll be familiar with the statistics, but we are 0.9% of the world's population. And yet on these small islands we produce about 16% of the best research in the world if you base it on citations. So it would be a shame to let all that go to waste from an industrial point of view, and this programme is really about trying to do that.
Thank you, Paul. So next I'd like to welcome Trevor Cross to the podium. Trevor is Group CTO of E2V. Many of you will be aware of the Rosetta space probe launched by the European Space Agency more than a decade ago. And for the last 2 years, the Rosetta probe has been sending back images to Earth from a comet called 67P, and just delivering, enabling scientists to understand the composition of the comet, and therefore to understand better the origins of our universe.
Good morning, I'm very, very pleased to be here. This is a really exciting time in quantum technologies. My purpose here today is to give you a first level understanding of what we mean by quantum technologies and some of the things that could happen as a result of the capabilities. With the first industrial revolution, we understood materials and everything around us by bulk properties, things we could see. How transparent was it? How strong is it? How heavy is it? What's the density? And that served us very well for a lot of technology development. Then came the microscopic age. What do I mean by that? Well, we began to understand matter in terms of atoms. We began to even see groups of and then individual atoms. That led to the whole of the first electronics industry, and it gave us a host of other things, including lasers.
Thank you, Trevor. Next, I'd like to welcome Stuart Adcock to the podium. Stuart is from Industrial Light and Magic, which is one of the iconic visual effects companies in the world. I mean, just a quick survey, actually, in the audience. Who has seen one of Star Wars, Jurassic Park, Harry Potter, Pirates of the Caribbean? I mean, I think pretty much everybody had a hand up, maybe a handful of people who not. I mean, the films that Industrial Light and Magic have worked on are part of our culture, part of our heritage. They have shaped modern entertainment. I'm so excited that Stuart is here to talk about some of the work that he does.
One area I wanted to touch on is virtual production, which tackles a slightly different problem. It tries to set out a exactly that, really, a virtual production studio, something that can be iterated fast, where you can explore and you can experiment, and it's not as costly as post-production. And this has actually been going on for quite a few years at ILM.
Thank you, Stuart. So from one video to another, which I suspect is going to be slightly different, we now have a video from Judith Batchelor of Sainsbury's, Director of Brand for Sainsbury's. Judith sends her apologies she's not able to be here today. We don't typically, I guess, associate Sainsbury's with cutting-edge technology, but they are using satellite technology to monitor agricultural practices to really ensure the brand integrity of their supply chain. So we have a short video to illustrate that.
The provenance and the integrity of the thousands of products that we sell every week to our customers is beyond question. And the work of the satellite catapult has meant that that process is more robust than it's ever been before.
So I'd like to ask Stuart Martin, who's the CEO of the Satellite Applications Catapult, to follow up on that, and perhaps also to talk for a minute or two about some of the other collaborations that the Satellite Applications Catapult is enabling in this sector.
Very good, thank you very much, Hazel. And yes, if you were looking at your programme this morning, thinking about what disruptions in the space sector you were going to hear about, I don't imagine that Sainsbury's was the first company that came into your mind. Over the last 3 years, we're about 3.5 years old now. We've worked with over 700 organisations, through from those who are producing the data and providing the communication services up in space, down through to those who are packaging all that data up and providing services to end users, and then, like Sainsbury's themselves, working with the end users to figure out how they can better understand what the offering is and how they can fit that into, as Judith said there, into their business as usual.
So we've just really scratched the surface of some of the emerging and enabling technologies that are being worked on in this country, and that Innovate UK is supporting and that commercial partners are bringing to market. We've heard a little bit about space, a little bit about digital and special effects, a little bit about quantum. Paul's given us a kind of an umbrella view of some of the broader technologies under development. But perhaps if you could join me in thanking the panel for their insights.